So I want to welcome everyone to the first episode of Don't Talk About It, Sing About It. Our first guest on our podcast is Miss Valerie D. Johnson. She is a vocalist extraordinaire. She's one of my colleagues. I love her to death. And we're going to talk a lot today about something really exciting that's going on in her life. Before we get to it, Valerie, can you tell us just who is Valerie D. Johnson?
Hello, and thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
I am Valerie D. Johnson. I am a native of Mississippi, and I now live in Greensboro. Have been here over 20 years. I have been a professor of voice and choir for 20 years at Bennett College, and now I'm a voice professor at North Carolina A&T State University.
Okay.
So I have been engulfed in music all of my life. I am a professional singer, and I am a life design catalyst coach, which means that I help people understand purpose and really dig deep and self-reflect to see what is it that I'm really here for. What am I meant to do? And so from that, I am purposed to educe greatness, empower purpose, and inspire humanity.
Educe. That's really fancy. I love it. Okay. Awesome. So you're a vocalist, musician, you're a life design catalyst coach.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
And now we're adding to your titles author.
Author.
Okay.
Yes.
So the title of your new book is, wow, I needed to know that. The Manual for Embracing a Powerful Life Without Limits. Oh my gosh. Tell us about it.
So this book came about from a conversation that I had with a friend who said, you know, you really should have written a book by now. And I'm like, well, I actually have written 3 and I've just not put them together. I immediately spoke with one of my mentors, and he was like, listen, put everything that you've written together and you just need to go for it. I'm like, well, I don't think they go together. He was like, no, just put them all together. So I went home that weekend and I gathered all of my writings, and I couldn't believe how they all connected, because they all were dealing with things that we deal with on a daily basis in our lives. So the title came about because each time I told someone about the book, their response was, wow, I didn't know that. So the information was wow for them. They just didn't know it.
That's awesome. I love it. So in your writing process, I heard that you put all your content together. Tell me about what happened when you had content that didn't fit, or you had missing content. What did you do in order to put the book together?
So initially, the pieces that did fit, I didn't immediately take the pieces that I didn't want out of them. I just kind of let them stay there. And then I added on the other elements that I thought were missing that would make the book complete. So the process of actually eliminating certain parts of each chapter came after the first round of edits. Because once I read through it after not seeing it for a while, and it was like, okay, this doesn't fit in the context of what I want the reader to get from the book. Or it was too much information. In some cases, there was not enough information, so I had to go back and add additional information to certain chapters. So that was a process.
Okay, awesome. That sounds good. So I had the opportunity and the privilege to read the first chapter of the book, and there are a lot of powerful statements, a lot of positive information that I just never thought about, and I want to take the time to give you a moment to just kind of reflect on a couple of quotes that I was intrigued by. The first quote is, "Your body is not made to hold waste, nor is your mind or your heart."
This is true. And one of the best examples I can give is when we are sad, we just had a bad breakup, or maybe it was grief that we have encountered because of a loved one passing. We have emotions that run high during those times. So if we started to, let's say, eat ice cream every day to ease some of that pain, that emotional pain that we're feeling, eventually, if you keep practicing that, then you're going to gain weight.
Right.
So there's a study done by Case Western University that says that trauma and physical pain respond basically the same in the brain.
Okay.
So about 30% of our reasoning it decreases.
Uh-huh.
Our IQ decreases by 25%.
Wow.
So, when you have that girlfriend who, when she broke up, was just saying crazy things and acting crazy about whatever the situation was, and you're like, that's not you. That's because that pain has caused something to happen within her. And when she gets over him or her, then the person starts acting differently.
Yeah.
We all have experienced that. When we finally go through the grieving process, or when we finally go through the divorce and really deal with the issues, we feel brand new.
Yeah.
So that's why if you continue to deal with, if you deal with the issues, you can feel better, or you can not deal with the issues, and it can cause you to have a certain kind of personality. You can be controlling because you weren't able to control that situation.
Yeah.
And that stuff just buries itself deeper and deeper within you if you don't deal with it.
Okay. Wow, that's really good. You helping me right now.
Good.
Okay, so that kind of segues into another quote that I saw, kind of similar, but I think it goes a little bit deeper. It says, people are stuck at the age they were traumatized. Like, what does that mean for us?
So I learned this from one of my dear friends. I was in a relationship, and there was a behavior that the guy kept demonstrating. I don't remember specifically what it was, but whatever it was a repeated behavior. And I was like, I wonder why he does that. He wasn't doing it to me. It was something that he did to himself. And she said to me, well, people get stuck at the point of wherever their trauma was. So if, let's say, the battered wife syndrome sometimes has to do with what the person experienced as a child that they never dealt with. So now they've taken it on, and because they're now in this relationship that's unhealthy for them. There are just many ways that people act out from whatever happened to them as a child. It comes out. Anger.
Yeah.
The child that didn't have this food again, didn't have food as a child. I've seen college students who just gluttonous as adults, and you're like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And then when I have a conversation with them, I find out, well, I grew up, I really didn't have food.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always happen, but those are some cases.
I actually came across a Facebook post the other day where a young lady was talking about how as a kid she didn't get a chance to have sneakers. And so as an adult she spent tons of money on high-end Jordans, Adidas, Nikes, whatever it was that was hot. She bought that, and she realized, she said, I have to let my 14-year-old self not control my finances. And so I think that's a great example of what you're talking about, how we get stuck.
You get stuck.
Yeah, so that's something that we really have to deal with. And you talk a lot about mental health in the first chapter of the book, and I know that's a touchy topic for Black people in general. Why do you talk about it?
Because I think we don't talk about it. And I do think it is at the core of our issues.
Yeah.
Any issue that we have, we tend to bury it. If we have physical pain, we don't bury that. The first thing we do, if I start coughing, I'm like, oh goodness, where's the medicine?
Right.
Let me change my diet. There's an immediate reaction to being physically ill.
Right.
But for some reason, when we become mentally challenged, and it may not be a mental illness, I'm not suggesting that, but I am saying that emotions are caught up in our mentality, so that has to do with the mental health, that we tend just not to deal with it. We just tend to suppress it. And so again, that ends up causing us to be somebody else other than that authentic person we should be.
And helping us live a powerful life.
And helping us live that powerful life. You cannot live angry and be your best authentic self.
No, that's right.
Can't do it. So that's what this book is really about. It's challenging people to really become your truly authentic self by first identifying those things that you are suppressing. And I think all of us have things that we deal with. The point is, address it, deal with it, and you may not ever completely dismiss it out of your life because it's something that's happened to you, but at least acknowledge that this is what happens, this is my trigger points, so that you can then move forward and truly walk in your God-given purpose. Because sometimes people can't get to purpose because they're so caught up in the stuff that's going on in their lives. They can't even see it because they're blinded by their own pain.
So what does it mean to live in purpose? Because I noticed you put that in the book, and I'm like, okay, most people say, I'm living on purpose, or like YOLO, like you only live once, so I'm going to do it big now. Right. But what does it mean to live in purpose?
So to live in purpose means that everything that you do is connected to that big picture. So if I go to the grocery store to get groceries, I'm going on purpose to get groceries. They don't have anything to do with my purpose per se.
Right.
Or even if I had to work at a grocery store, that's not my purpose. Purpose is not for me to work in the grocery store, but I will work there if I have to make some money so that then I can fund my real purpose. So when I talk about in purpose, I'm talking about being connected and being totally submerged in whatever that purpose is and everything that you do leading to it. And if it doesn't lead to it, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Okay, you heard it from Valerie D. Johnson. If you're not living in purpose, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, so one thing that I noticed is when I received the first chapter of the book, I also received the table of contents. And the table of contents, chapter 4, shows that it's entitled How to Live with Limited Resources. But the title of the book says Embracing a Powerful Life Without Limits. So how do we do both?
So you can do both.
Okay.
So that chapter came out of my own experience of sometimes not having. So I'm like, okay, well, I know I have the gifts and talents to do many things that can generate money. But some people feel like they don't have it. They don't have the tools that they need to generate more income.
Right.
So this chapter does two things. First, it gives examples of the things that you can do when you don't have money to still get the things that you need.
Yeah.
Bartering. I cannot tell you the things that I've bartered on even during this process of this book.
Right.
So bartering when you don't have money. What are the gifts that you have? Maybe you're good at doing hair. Ask your girlfriend's family to allow you to do hair. So create clients. Maybe you're good at baking cakes. Bake cakes and sell them. You're generating income. There is something that you're good at doing. And if you feel like you don't have something that you're good at, then develop a skill. Doesn't cost anything to go online and research how to do something that you feel connected to. You don't want to just do anything but something that you're connected to.
Right.
And so that's also helping create income. And then just simple things like most stores and some restaurants have rewards programs.
Right.
I can tell you that there was a time that I was low on cash, and it was Friday, and payday was Monday.
Oh, God.
And so I happened to look through I had CVS Extra Bucks, I think is what they call them, and there was a $10 coupon because I had been getting my toiletries there, from my medication from there, so I had gathered these $10 extra bucks. And so I was able to go to CVS and buy exactly what I needed to make it to Monday. That was money there that I never thought about. And the only thing I did was become a member of the rewards program. Yeah. If you don't have money to, say, celebrate your kid's birthday, IHOP gives free pancakes on birthdays. So take your kids to IHOP if you're a part of the program. So there are a lot of different programs is my point. So find out what are the things that can generate either money or the resources that you need to move forward.
Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. Okay. So I want to backtrack a little bit because when I first met you, you were working as a choral director at Bennett. And I just want to know how your musical goals or talents or anything musically has been affected by your book writing.
I tell you, the book writing really has amped up my strategic planning.
Okay.
It has amped it up because there has come a point when I just couldn't go out and hang out with friends. I had to be really structured in my time. So what it's done for me vocally in terms of practicing or preparing for my conducting or anything music related, it's challenged that, because while I feel like I have a lot of structure in those areas, I don't know that it really compares really well to what I have developed in terms of writing this book.
Okay.
So this book has really caused me to look at my multitasking that I tend to do, and kind of pull away from that and say, you know, this is the time that I have scheduled to write this book, or this is the time I've scheduled to rehearse. The phone is off. I have not been one person to turn the phone off, but
the phone
now
is off
the phone
completely.
is completely off.
Not on vibrate.
Not on vibrate.
Wow.
Completely off. And that time is structured for doing whatever that task is, versus trying to multitask and write the book and then, oh yeah, somebody's calling me, let me answer the phone and take care of that right now. No. And so I think that I have become a master of whatever it is that I'm focused on in that particular time, versus kind of doing partial this way and partial that way.
So is mastery a part of living a life without limits?
I think it is a component. It should not be hindering you from moving forward if you feel like you haven't mastered it, but it should be the end goal. I am trying to master whatever it is you feel like you've been called to do, or the meaningful work that you want to do on this earth. You should be focused on mastering that area and being a spokesman for whatever that particular purpose is.
Okay, okay, that's awesome. So one thing on Don't Talk About It, Sing About It is basically something I want to introduce about what are you singing about today. So singing about can mean like what are you passionate about, what gets your noodle going, like, you know, something that you're doing, or like a mantra, or anything that like you're like, this is my thing, outside of the book.
Outside of the book. I'll have to go back to my 6-word motto, which is educing greatness. Like, everything that I do is connected to me bringing out the best in people. Whether it's I'm teaching a piano lesson, or I'm teaching my voice students, or I'm having a workshop. My purpose in that moment is to really bring out the greatness, or encourage them to be great. At the same time, I'm trying to empower them in their purpose. Like, what is it that you're trying to be? So the two are very much connected. And then when I talk about inspiring humanity, you know, as I perform, I hope that my performances are inspiring people.
Oh, they are.
Thank you. And I hope that it's making people feel connected to their soul, because our music is so emotional and emotion driven, that I hope that there is inspiration in that, and in all that I do, whether it's a workshop or teaching piano. I hope that I'm inspiring, humanity.
That's amazing. Oh, it's so good. It's so good to have you.
You.
So the main question that everybody wants to know is, when does the book drop, and where can we purchase it?
So the book launch will be September 21st.
Okay.
Location to be announced. I'll be announcing that actually next week.
Okay.
You're welcome to come to the book launch. That's I want everybody to come and buy a book. Next week I will start the pre-sales of the book.
Pre-sales.
So pre-sales.
Okay.
Yes. And so you may email me at lifewithvald at gmail.com. lifewithvald@gmail.com, and I will of course send you all information. You may follow me at Twitter, and that's Life with Val D. And Instagram is Life with Val D8, the number 8. Okay. So feel free to contact me any of those ways, and I can get you more information. But next week is going to be it.
I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for your first book. I'm excited. This is good. It's been good to have you with us, and we're going to promote this like crazy.
Thank you.
Crazy.
I'm grateful.
No problem. So that concludes our first podcast of Don't Talk About It, Sing About It. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yep.